more example on CFG. See what we are going to do, we will write two different grammars and then we will try to combine those two grammars in a particular manner so that we get a different language. So we will write down a grammar G1 for language L1, grammar G2 for language L2, then we will combine G1 and G2 to get a grammar G3 and the language L3. So let's start. We have already seen these grammars. Say S produces A, S, B. This will produce equal number of A and B on both the sides. Then S produces say B, capital B. Then B produces B, capital B, or B produces epsilon. Fine. Now what this grammar will do, first of all, this S production when you apply recursively will produce equal number of A and B on both the sides. Now whenever you come out of S, you will enter the loop of B, but whenever you enter the loop of B, you will introduce an additional B to the right hand side of S or after A, and then this B will produce even more number of B because there is a recursion, B produces BB, or you can replace the B with epsilon. So in short, let's try to generate a particular string here belonging to this grammar. It can be S produces A, S, B. Again you apply the S production, it will be A, S, B, B. Again you apply the S production, it will produces A, S, B, B, B. So this is equal number of A's and B's on both the sides of S. Now let us come out of this S. You need to replace S by BB. Now when we do that, it will be A. This S will be replaced with BB. So B, capital B, B and B, B. Three B's as before. So you replace this S with BB. Now you can expand this B any number of times to produce additional B's like A, B. This B can be replaced with B, B, and finally you can replace this B with epsilon to get A, then B. This B will be replaced with epsilon, it will be nullified, and B. In short, what you have generated is A cube B to the power 5. And you should notice that whatever strings are generated with this grammar will be of the format A to the power n and B to the power m. Okay, block of A followed by block of B. Then at least one A will be there, at least one B will be there. So n comma n will be greater than equal to 1. And you can see that whenever you come out of S, then only B's will be generated. So what does that mean? That the number of B will always be greater than the number of A, and that is why we can write down, okay, I will change it into mn, A to the power m, B to the power n, and we can say, let's follow this order, m comma n greater than equal to 1, and this will generate n greater than m, that is more number of B as compared to A. Now let's write down another production. Say S produces A, S, B. S produces A, capital A. So instead of writing down B, capital B, we are writing down A, capital A. Then A produces A, capital A, or A produces epsilon. If you observe, these two grammars are symmetric because what we are doing, terminal B is replaced with terminal A, variable B is replaced with variable A. Everywhere, okay, B replaced with A, B replaced with A, again variable B replaced with variable A, again A replaced with, again B replaced with A. So similarly, the language here will be block of A followed by block of B. Okay, the number of A's as well as the number of B's will be greater than or equal to 1. At least one A, at least one B will be generated, and whenever you come out of S, only A's will be generated. So the number of A will always be greater than the number of B. So m greater than n. Now see, in this grammar, let's call this grammar as G1, let's call this grammar as G2, let's call this as the language generated by G1 L1, and let's call this as the language generated by the grammar G2 L2. See, here it is block of A followed by block of B and more number of B, okay, or AM, BN, n greater than m. Here it is AM, BN, m greater than n. Now what we will do, we will combine both these productions together into a third grammar, and let us see how that grammar will be looking like. It will be S produces A, S, B. So you initially generate equal number of A and B. Now whenever you want to come out of S, either you replace this S with AA or you replace this S with BB. Now S can be replaced with either A capital A or B capital B, and then we will copy these productions as they are. A produces A capital A, or A produces epsilon, then B produces B capital B, or B produces epsilon. Okay, now what is the difference between these two grammars and the third grammar? We are combining the productions of G1 and G2 into this third grammar, call it as G3. Or what we can say, I am taking the productions which belong to either G1 or G2, or the productions which belong to both the grammars. For example, S produces ASB is a production which belongs to G1 as well as G2. Then S produces BB, these three productions belong only to G1 and these three productions belong only to G1. So what we can say, one production is common, 3 plus 3, 6 productions are uncommon, and if you count the number of productions here, 1, 2, 3, okay, I will combine this product, I will write this production separately. S produces B capital B, then the total number of productions will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What does that mean? That we are taking the union of productions belonging to G2 and G1, and therefore the language generated by this grammar will be again A to the power M, B to the power N, then number of A will be greater than equal to 1, number of B will also be greater than equal to 1. However, if we compare M with N, if you replace S with A, then the number of A will be more than the number of B, M will be greater than N. However, if you replace this S production with BB, then number of B will be more as compared to the number of A. And what does that mean? That either M will be greater than N or N will be greater than M. However, what does that mean? That M can never be equal to N, and that is why the language generated by this grammar. Now what is the meaning of M greater than N or N greater than M? It simply means M not equal to N, and that is why what we will say, that the language generated by this grammar L3 is equal to A to the power M, B to the power N, with the condition that M not equal to N. Or what we can say, it will generate a block wherein number of A and number of B's are always different. And see the logic behind this. When we want M not equal to N, it means unequal number of A's and B's. That means either you want more A or you want more B. If you want more A, you will apply G2 productions, and if you want more number of B's, you will apply these G1 productions. And when you apply this common production, you are in G1 as well as G2. However, when you want to go into G1, you will replace this S with BB, and whenever you want to go into G2, you will replace this S with AA. And thus what we can say, that G3 is nothing but the union of G1 and G2. And also we can say that when you take the union of L1 and L2, you will get L3. So here we get a very important relationship like G3 is equal to G1 union G2, but the language represented by G1 is L1, the language represented by G2 is L2, and if you take the union of these two languages, you will get the language L3, which is represented by the grammar G3. And what is the meaning of L1 union L2? Either you want M greater than N or you want M less than N. That means you want either M greater than N or M less than N. That means you want M not equal to N. And therefore, this is one very powerful example which shows us that two different grammars can be combined to get the union. Or whenever you combine two grammars, the resultant grammar will produce a language which is the union of two languages. So, if G3 is equal to G1 union G2, then language of G3 will be language of G1 union language of G2. Okay, I hope you are very clear with this grammar, and the formal definition of this grammar will be, see, what will be belonging to the set of variables? It will be S, capital A and capital B will belong to the set of variables, small a, small b and epsilon will belong to the set of terminals, and these are the 7 productions and S will be the starting variable. So let's be very clear with this example, quite important, and this example will be useful when we discuss the closure properties of CFG. Important thing is, whenever you take union of two context free grammar, the result will also be a CFG. Okay, so CFG union CFG, the result will be a CFG. Thank you.